Thank you everyone for coming along today. My name is Rebecca Prince-Ruiz and I'm the founder of Plastic Free July. This is the second webinar that we've had today. Would love you all to put your name, where you're joining us from, if you're part of any organisation in the chat, so we can see where everyone is from. This is a time zone that's actually in Hi Beth from City to Sea. This is a time zone that's suiting participants in Plastic Free July, mostly in the Northern Hemisphere. And we're really excited to share with you what our plans are for Plastic Free July this year. We can also share a little bit about our research and the behavioural science evaluation that we've been doing, and a bit of background to the campaign and why we've chosen the initiatives that we're doing this year. So for those of you who haven't taken part in Plastic Free July before, welcome. Although we're based here I'm speaking to you from Western Australia, we have participants in about 190 countries around the world taking part. And it's great to see some familiar names and faces on this call, as well as some we haven't met before. And really, when Plastic Free July started back in 2011, it was just a handful of people at a time when the plastic pollution issue was just coming into our consciousness. And the fact that it's now a global movement and has so many people around the world taking part is really testament to so many community groups, not-for-profits and champions around the world. They're not only making change in their own lives, but spreading it into their communities, to their workplaces, and sharing it with friends and families. And many of you have been part of that story. I'm just going to share my screen. We'll share these slides and a recording after the webinar, and at the end we've left plenty of time to take questions and also have a conversation, because we're also really keen to learn about what you're doing for Plastic Free July, what you're doing to tackle plastic waste in your community, because we really believe that together we can be stronger than just acting. So just sharing my screen now. So the Plastic Free July campaign and the work that we do at the foundation is really around helping people, helping organisations to take action to end plastic waste. So the Plastic Free Foundation is a not-for-profit, or a for-purpose, as we prefer to call ourselves. And the way that we make change is really helping and empowering individuals, sharing ideas, sharing solutions, sharing stories of what others are doing. And what we've seen over the last, and this will be the 14th Plastic Free July, happen is that when people start to make changes in their own lives, it influences those around them. And through sharing those positive stories around solutions and impact, we start to have a groundswell of community action. And that's really the bottom-up change to influence corporate and government policy. Just briefly before we get into Plastic Free July, some of the other work that the Plastic Free Foundation does is measuring and reporting to governments of the world public attitudes and public opinions on the plastic pollution and plastic waste issue. We've been working now since before the Global Plastics Treaty was announced to measure that through work with WWF and Ipsos. And we just released the latest report a couple of weeks ago before the latest INC. And we're starting to do research and ask questions around very specific global rules that should be in that plastics treaty, which is very high, continues to be high, and also starting to get some real detailed feedback and understanding of specific rules, such as requiring manufacturers and retailers to provide reuse and refill systems. So in terms of the work that we're doing, it's not it's providing those research results into the government negotiators that are actually working on in that treaty process. I'm not going to go through this. Many of you on this call will know why we should take part and take action on reducing plastic pollution and plastic waste, but there's just some good references there to share with others. Obviously the plastic waste and plastic pollution issue is really critical. It's what motivates us to do this work. But through the Plastic Free July campaign, whilst we're very much motivated by the issue of plastics in the environment, of the human health impacts, of the social justice issues, and the impacts it has on communities around the world, through the challenge, we're actually focusing on solutions. And there's a lot of organisations that are doing that work on cleanups and awareness raising. And through this campaign, we're very much focused, as I said, on those solutions, whether it's changes that people can make in their own lives, when they're shopping, when they're out and about, things that they can do in their workplace, how to have a public event and eliminate single-use food and beverage packaging. We have community groups running workshops making reusable produce bags to avoid plastic produce bags. We have workplaces taking on the challenge. We have community groups switching to reusables. Interestingly, there's a growing number of plastic bans that get announced by governments during July. We see workplaces. The image on the bottom right is of a workplace that switched from serving milk and other beverages in their staff canteen in single-use bottles to refill systems. The image on the bottom left is a hospital that ran a campaign to reduce the number of single-use plastic bed pads in hospital, called Blueies. They ran a Think Before You Bluey campaign. Then they've also now taken that and are looking at reducing single-use gloves. And we see a number of brands changing their packaging. The image on the top left is an initiative from Manila in the Philippines. That was an initiative that was launched last July in Quezon City, where Greenpeace and the Impact Hub had a trial of having bulk household cleaning products in refills at the local sari stores instead of single-serve sachets. We see towns switching to being single-use plastic coffee cup free. We see a lot of schools getting involved, and an event. The image down the bottom is an event in China where they had in Shanghai a plastic-free morning tea, and they had people gathering to learn more and to connect and have conversations over around this issue. So just as much as we felt today that it was important to share the campaign, it was also important to give a bit of a flavour of just creativity, I think, and the variety of ways that people are taking part, and it really has become a global month a month of action on the global calendar. So moving on to some of the impacts, we research our participants before they take part in Plastic Free July, whether they've done it before or it's their first time, and we'll be sharing that link. That's the Pesky Plastics quiz tool on the website, and that we ask people questions about their attitudes and behaviours, their choices, how many waste or garbage types of waste or trash bins that they have, how often they're collected, how full they are, and we also do general population research as well, so we can track the behaviours of participants versus non-participants, and that's how we know that participants are 25% more likely to adopt plastic reducing practices than global averages, which it puts the campaign in the category of behaviour change best practice. And so the results, so we work very closely with behavioural economists, and our research is done independently. And because of this research that we do, the advice is that the campaign we should keep targeted at the vast majority of the population by keeping the campaign normal and simple, and focus on nudging action, so ideas of how to change rather than why. So this is about behaviour, not about attitudes. Really, so you know, the results speak for themselves. Last year, over the last few years, you know, hundreds of millions of people have participated. Together, they've avoided 10 billion kilos. Sorry, I should have probably translated that into pounds of household waste. It's great to see that. So we measure with the Pesky Plastics quiz. We measure the after results in September, so we start to measure long-term behaviours, and we know that 87% of participants make one or more changes that become a habit or a way of life. Really interestingly, we also ask questions around people's sense of well-being and connection to community, and they have a more positive sense of positive social connections and positive sense of well-being. So when people are taking part in Plastic Free July, when organisations are taking it into their communities or running events, we always encourage you to invite people to take part, to sign up formally, and then they'll get this Pesky Plastics quiz. It can also be found on our website. But this data is really important in helping us to understand behaviours and attitudes on a global scale, and then share them with participants, and also share them with governments and brands as well. So the theme for this year is, or the slogan is "Small Steps, Big Difference," and it really is a great way that we've found to speak to people that this isn't about being perfect. It's not about doing everything. It's about choosing one item, choosing two items, and that when lots of us are making change at the same time, those small steps add up to make a big difference. One of the things I forgot to mention or to point out on the last slide was that we target behaviours that are, so we measure people's behaviours on around 17 different plastic items. And what we try and do is target behaviours that are done by 30 to 40% of the population. And that they're behaviours that are starting to become normalised but have a lot of potential for change. So they're the kinds of behaviours that that behavioural science shows that we have the most likely success in engaging people with. And look, I would have thought, I'm sure like many of you on the call, I would have thought behaviours like shopping at bulk food stores were, behaviours that we could really target. But what our research shows is that behaviours that are becoming normalised, that have the most potential for change, include switching to reusable, switching from plastic bottles to reusable bottles, avoiding prepackaged produce, avoiding plastic food wrap, and avoiding single-use coffee cups. So they're the items that we're actually focusing on for the campaign this year. And you'll see the language is that it's not about saying no, it's about choosing to refuse and joining lots of people around the world. So the language is positive, it's inviting, and it's taking small steps and making it easy for people. One of the things that we'll be building on from our campaign last year is the idea of a plastic-free pledge. This is something we started last year with single-use coffee cups and invited last year with the pledge to refuse single-use coffee cups. We were targeting elected officials, business leaders, and the media. And this year we've expanded that to include other items. And because what we're really trying to do here is make this behaviour visual and visible, and make leaders accountable. So the idea behind these pledges is for people to print them out, to sign them, and then to share their commitment on social media or with their networks. Some of the people that have taken this pledge last year include state and national environment leaders, business leaders, as well as community groups as well. So we'll send you all of these links afterwards, and once I finish sharing these slides, I'll just quickly show you on the website where they're found. We've expanded to what we're calling the top 3 items of our focus for this year, which is single-use plastic drink bottles, plastic food wrap, and single-use cups. So those resources are on our website, and as you would have excuse me, seen in the last image, people can do that individually or come together as a group, and it's a great way to start to bring awareness to this issue. So how can you get involved? As you've seen, there's just so many creative ways to take part in Plastic Free July. We would love to to stay connected with you all, to hear what you're doing, to share your stories. There's an events map on our website where you can put in an event if the public is invited. And we'd love to share your stories to inspire others. So please sign up and take the challenge. Get started with the pesky plastics quiz. There's the pledge. There's ideas for initiatives such as the plastic-free morning tea. There's a plastic-free schools package in there as well. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for the moment and just quickly go to show you. Sorry, I'm going to share again and just show you where those tools and resources are on our website. So if you go under Get Involved, there's lots of ideas, solutions there of what you can do at home, how you can reduce plastic at waste at events, at work, at school, in the community. There's a great storytelling section where we're sharing lots of ideas, and we'd love to share if you've got an initiative or an event in your community or your workplace. That's the hospital stories that I spoke of before, and their efforts to tackle the single-use plastic bed pads, how they got there. And I think that's really important. We often see the headline of this company's avoided 500,000 single-use plastic items, or this airline's reduced avoided 20 million plastic cups. But how did they do it? What were the steps they took? What were the challenges? What were the barriers? And the more that we share and support and collaborate each other, I think the more that we can make a difference. We've got stories of events that have gone single-use free and switched to reusables. There's a story of a cafe that does takeaway only that got rid of disposable cups, of what hotels have done, university cafeterias, of workshops run at a library in Japan, how local municipalities get involved, how corporates get involved. And so all of the resources that I've shared with you are under this Plastic Free July 2024 tab. We've got quick links on to take the quiz, taking the challenge, the pledge, and all of those different campaigns that I've mentioned. In the resources section, we have posters, the badges, some videos, and a variety of assets to use. They're all for non-commercial purposes, but if you are a business that's interested in the work of the foundation or supporting Plastic Free July, you're very welcome to get in touch and to have a conversation with us. That's the end of the formal part of the website. If you have a question, please put it in the chat. I can see a couple of comments and questions in here. But please add any questions that you have there. If you'd like, I think everybody can unmute themselves, but if anyone would like to introduce yourself, share what you're doing, please unmute yourself, or if you can't, please add just add a comment in the chat, and I'll see if I can do that. So someone here said, can we add as a pledge, I supported a strong global plastics treaty? That's a really great idea. It's something we can certainly consider, and I'll take that one to the team. Thanks. I'm not sure of the name of the person who put that in there. I think there's a lot of there are a number of NGOs that are are running petitions to do that. So we will look at also sending out some links there, because there are other organisations that are very actively um, uh, measuring that direct support. So someone, Tess, has said, how can I start a team for my co-workers and local followers to join? So we don't have a formal, so when you sign up uh, and take the challenge on the website, you can say whether you're just doing it, you're getting started and you're doing it yourself, or you want to take next steps, or whether you're taking it into your workplace or community. And so there's some of the ideas that we see that have worked for people. Some people start by doing an event, and it can be really simple, like a plastic-free morning tea or a lunch or a coffee catch up. Whether you try and organise it, whether you cater for it yourself or invite people to bring a snack, and challenge people to do that without plastic packaging, which is hard, but that's a great conversation starter. So starting with conversations always works well. Some people will start by doing a local cleanup and finding out the plastic and litter that's an issue in your area. Some workplaces will start by doing an audit of their trash and deciding on what items to tackle. So there are lots of resources in that get involved, and ideas for how to get others in board, but doing it in a positive way rather than a threatening way, or sharing that I'm taking part in Plastic Free July. Will you join me? And we find and when you sign up, you'll get assets to share. And we find that often people tell us that's a great way to start, rather than just being that nagging person that says, don't you know, or you feel frustrated when people around you are using um, plastic, single-use plastics all the time, by saying, I'm part of this, it's bigger than me, others around the world are doing it, would you like to join in? Linda said,
Can
sorry?
you hear me?
Yep, yep.
Can you hear me okay?
Would you like to
I
introduce
just
yourself?
wanted, yeah, hi. My name is Testa Cersei. I'm the one who just asked that question. So I just wanted to pop in and uh, I can turn my video on if you'd like.
Okay.
Hello. I'm here in South Padre Island in Texas. And I started thinking about Plastic Free July a few years ago because one of my coworkers started sort of like a team. So she started the campaign and we all kind of joined the team. And I really liked that like team mentality
Mm-hmm.
where she was kind of like the host of the team, and she would send out emails every week and just kind of like promoting our whole organization to get on board and all of that kind of thing. So I was wondering if that's something that you guys still do, where you are able to kind of like start a team and reach out to your like followers of that team, or if you could talk just like a little bit more about ways to do something similar to that.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Tess. So we don't have the tools to be able to connect to, say, if there's a specific team in an area, to communicate directly, but we do through when people take the challenge and sign up, we do share a monthly, and then it will become weekly newsletter during July with those ideas. But it's certainly something that people have asked previously, of how they could um, like, some other challenges have, that you can actually sign up and do it with a particular group of people that you can track behaviours and conversations. We just don't have that capacity at the moment for us to do it directly, but I know it's something that a lot of workplaces will do. They'll get together a green team of champions within an organisation, and then use your internal comms team, Slack, whatever technology that they use to share that. Because I really think if you're doing it with others around you, sharing ideas, motivating each other, even having little mini challenges, like 1 week focus on one item, the next week focus on another, is a really great way to keep everybody on board and get traction.
Thank you so much. That was super helpful. So it sounds like I will just have people sign up for the campaign as a whole and then kind of encourage within my realm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
I'm very
also,
excited. Thanks.
I'm excited too. And but please, stay in touch and let us know what you're doing, how you did it, because that will, when we share those stories, that inspires and empowers others. Just going to go to one here from Linda, who's asked about, talks about in the US needing to pass more of extended producer responsibility laws, and any ideas to promote this. Look, that's really extended producer responsibility, where businesses and producers of plastic items or packaging have responsibility for that item across its whole lifetime, not just from when it's sold and until the point of it being sold. Any ideas of how to promote this as part of Plastic Free July? I know that the group, and I'm not sure if anyone on the call is from Beyond Plastics, have started to focus on that as part of their activations of a Plastic Free July around plastic packaging last year. I think the beverage container deposit scheme is a great example of product stewardship. I've known of some groups that actually in jurisdictions where they didn't have that scheme would actually host an event where they were giving out, I think it was 10 cents in that case. Different areas are targeting different amounts for the beverage container or deposit return schemes, you might call them in the US. And so what they did is actually got a grant from a local community bank. They got $500 worth of 10-cent coins, and encouraged people to bring their single-use containers in for recycling. Obviously, from our perspective, the reuse is best, but in order to make businesses responsible for their packaging, it's really important that these extended producer responsibility laws came in. And so that was a way of this community event where people brought their containers in. They had a fun way of throwing a container into a recycling bin, and it was something that the kids did, and they got the 10 cents. It was just a fun way of starting to build awareness and support, and for such a scheme to come in. So that's an idea to promote that. Other things that I've seen is people starting a letter writing campaign or even a petition as part of Plastic Free July, and using that as an opportunity to start to push for some regulatory reform. And because there's so much media attention on the plastics issue during that month, when you're undertaking action, whatever you you want to focus on for that month, the more that what we find with people doing it in July is that it's a great way to get some media coverage because you're doing it as part of something bigger. And so when you can add an online activation or an event onto our website map, and then when our team is doing interviews around the world, we can see, well, what's happening, what's happening in Texas, and connecting media with local events and initiatives. That's someone. I think this next one is a comment. Please, if you want to add or share your story, this next one is please do in the chat or unmute yourselves. Someone saying they're planning to have meetups regularly. When we carry the reusables, even supermarkets carry our boxes and bags to refill things. It's a great idea to organise meetups, take photos, share them on social media, share them. We've got we're going to be adding to that pledge page on the website a press release template, media release template. So if you want to share what you're doing with your local media, that'll help to make that easy to do that. Olga, go ahead. Love to hear from you.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry I'm taking the webinar from my car because I was in another meeting. So I'm stopping now to be able to give you a bit of well, thank you first, because it's we agree so much on this. I coordinate the Plastic Free Campus. It's a program that we launched here in Switzerland some years ago under a foundation based in Switzerland. And so we work a lot with schools, with universities, and even with communities. And just to share that it's a long process, and as you're saying, it's one step by step, but we see how people start picking up a bit better a better way to do things. And just to share the success, because after some years of improving the kermesse that will be happening in a couple of weeks, finally this year is going to be almost, because it's 100% plastic free, obviously is it's very challenging, but at least we managed to have reusables. So we are having reusables for plates and cutlery and cups. So, which, I mean, and it's a big school, a big event. So we are going to be reducing lots of waste from comparing to other years. And so just to say, this is little by little, and Plastic Free Campus supports schools on this journey. And obviously we agree, and we will be supporting Plastic Free July in many different ways. So yeah, at the end, I wanted to share with you also our program for the schools, Plastic Free Campus. Yeah.
Okay, great. Olga, can we just we'd love to share that link in our follow-up email.
Oh, yes.
If you don't mind adding it to the chat, so everybody.
Sure, it is very easy because it's plasticfreecampus.org.
Okay.
And so we have some modules for the schools to follow, and but we have campaigns as well. So we try to work with we work globally from Switzerland, but we act also locally with schools. So we can do many things from here as well. Great,
thank you very much. Well, we'd love to share that.
Thank you.
Pujita. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Sorry. Yeah, Pujita.
Pujita. Nice to meet you. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Dubai. That big, huge message was from me. I'm sorry. So yeah, as a person, yes, I'm trying to take only reusables, carry reusables with me everywhere I go. Supermarket is always refilled with reusables and all that. but I have started a community here of people who wants to be sustainable, but they're not really sustainable. They don't know where to start, and it's that kind of people. So I was thinking I would just take them out for small outings, like I mentioned, and ask them to maybe one at a time. Should I do it one at a time, or I should just jump into it? I'm not sure, but because it might shock some people, I think,
Yeah.
to bring their own reusable uh, instead of getting anything which is single use. Uh, so is there, I see in your slide, because I joined only 15 minutes late,
Yeah.
and I like kind of missed out 15 minutes of your presentation. So I do see in your last slide that you have something called coffee, something plastic free coffee, or I don't know, I didn't get that right. So we could do something like that, right? And you want us to post in the website, or how does it work?
Yeah, so with the firstly, thank you.
Thank you.
It's always I just love hearing from and talking to people that are taking part and trying to share it with others and make a difference. And so yeah, we'll share the slides and the presentation
Mhm.
with you.
Okay.
And so the idea with the pledge is just rather than to try for people to try everything, because it's really overwhelming when you're trying to avoid
Yes.
single-use plastic, is you can just and I think that also the plastic in everyone's life is different, and the options that we have in the options that I have in my community are different to other places in the country, let alone between countries. So it's really important to give people choice and for people to be able to just start with one or two things when you're new to it, rather than trying to do everything at once, because that can be overwhelming. It's almost impossible to avoid all plastic.
Yes. Yeah.
By starting with small steps, you can form new habits. So the idea of the pledge is so we've made up pledge cards for single-use coffee cups, pledging to avoid plastic water bottles, and also plastic food wrap. So they're a pledge that you can print out, you can write your name on it and hold up as a sign, make your own sign, get a group of people together with maybe, your pledge is the water bottle, and make a commitment together and to do it in a public way. And maybe you work somewhere that has a sustainability strategy and some goals which are good on paper, but then everyone is walking around with single use. So you can ask the CEO or the mayor where you live, or your elected official, to take part, and it's a positive way of joining other people. I really like the idea of going out and trying it together. That really sounds like a fun idea.
Yeah, because we created this group just to get these people normalized into a sustainable lifestyle slowly, because they want to do it, but they have that inhibitions to actually take their own. Ask them, can you please fill it up in my cup? Yeah, so as a group, when we go, I think they feel less stressed about it, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking about it.
And look, that's really how Plastic Free July started. So I had the idea when I went to a recycling facility and I saw just how much waste we were producing, how much I was consuming. And
Yeah.
I wanted to do something different. I knew I had to take responsibility. And so I decided I was going to try and avoid single-use plastic the next month, which has happened to be July. And there were 40 of us who tried it, and it was a lot harder than I thought. But every year now, like, we do a little bit more and get better. But what we found by doing it together, I didn't know how to do it. I still don't know how to do it, but together we have lots of ideas, and by doing it together, we can share ideas, we can support each other. You know, we can commiserate when you ask for a drink with no straw and you get 2 plastic straws and you feel really frustrated, and then you can have a conversation. Well, how did you make that change? There's so many, there's so many great ideas. Anne-Marie, so you're on the call. Anne-Marie is from California. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and show your face, Anne-Marie, but she's somebody that I learned a lot from. She has a website, and hey, Anne-Marie, it's a great
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, a great social media account on called, she's the Zero Waste Chef, and I've learned so much about reducing plastic in my kitchen from Anne-Marie, and I think there are so many ideas. We've gone over time, but we can keep chatting. If people need to leave, you can leave. Would you like to share a bit about what you do, Anne-Marie?
Oh, sure. Well, thanks. So I started around the same time as you, Rebecca. It was in 2011, and I read about plastic pollution in the oceans, and I was horrified. And once you see those pictures of the albatrosses feeding their young, you can't unsee it. And so I decided I was going to break up with plastic, and I discovered, so I didn't know where to start. And my daughter, Mary Catherine, did a bunch of research. She found Beth Terry's blog, My Plastic Free Life, and we started to do the things that Beth recommended, and yeah, just snowballed. And we discovered right away most of it was food, coming from food. So, and it took months and months to change our routine around. Also, we live in Northern California. We have year-round farmers markets. None of the food is packaged in plastic, so that wasn't a hard switch. But yeah, and then like, my diet improved. The food I eat now tastes better. So, like, there's so many benefits. So on social media and on my blog, I try to post solutions and the benefits, and anyway, and I love Plastic Free July. It's so awesome. So thanks for everything you do, Rebecca. Oh, you're muted.
Doing so well. I think thanks very much, Anne-Marie, and thanks for what you do too. And yeah, please, everyone, keep in touch. If you're doing if you're posting on social media, tag us. You've got our details, so we'd love to see photos, hear what you're doing, share what you're doing, support you, because together, I think that's the only way that we're going to make change. Can't see you, Linda, but lovely to hear from you. It's really great to see. I've seen photos of your delicious looking cherry tomatoes. So it's really, when we started back in 2011, both of us, Anne-Marie, there wasn't as many options as there is now. And whilst there is still so much work to do and there's still so much change to happen, I think it's really important that we also reflect and celebrate the changes that we have been able to make and the difference that we have. I mean, there is no question that as challenging it is, governments of the world would not be negotiating a global treaty to end plastic pollution without the grassroots change and all of this work that's been done by the community. So we need to end it there. We will send you a link to the recording. It might actually be the recording of this morning, not today, but not this evening. Well, it's actually morning for many of you. It's middle of the night here for me. But we'll send you a recording. We'll send you all of those links. We wish you well for Plastic Free July, and we look forward to making a difference with you. So thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. This
Thank
was
you.
great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.